In this video, I'm gonna talk about dynamic NAT. In the previous video, I talked about static NAT, which is a one-to-one mapping of a private address and a public address. With NAT, we actually have a subnet of IP addresses or private IP addresses, and we have a pool of public IP addresses, and we let the router dynamically map a private address to an IP address from that pool of public IP addresses. So let's take a look at the topology here. So we have two clients, and we have two clients that are connected to the switch, and we have a router that is configured with NAT. So let's say that PCA is trying to access let's say that this is a web server. Now it's going to have a source IP address of 192.168.1.10, and of course its destination IP will be 7.7.7.7. So we know that that 192 IP address will not be routable on the internet. So R1 is going to translate that into a public IP address. Let's say that the public IP address will be this IP address 5.5.5.6, and also PCA tries to contact or to access this server. Of course, R1 is gonna translate its private IP address into this IP address, which is 5.5.5.7. So basically, this is what's gonna happen if if R1 translate these private IP addresses into public IP addresses. So we know that private IP addresses are also known as inside local addresses, and the public IP addresses that we got from our ISP are also known as inside global addresses. And of course, the outside global address is the server that is outside of our network. So that's how basically dynamic NAT works. So yeah, let's take a look at how we can configure it. So just like static NAT, we have to specify the inside interface on the router. So in this example, the inside interface is gigabit 1/1, and this is how you configure it as an inside interface, IP NAT inside, and interface gigabit 0 /1 will be our IPNet outside interface. And in this example, since we have a subnet of private IP addresses, we can actually create an access list, and this is actually, let me just actually verify this.
Forgot 3.
Yeah, this is actually permit. So access list, this is 10. This is a standard access list. Permit, this is basically just specifying the subnet that you want to be translated into the private public IP addresses. So, and next step is specify the pool of the public IP addresses. So IPNet pool, and this is the name of the pool. It is actually ideal to, to make the name all uppercase, just to remind yourself that you came up with that name. It's not a specific command. So IPNet pool, this is the, let's just assume that we got this IP address from our ISP. So 5.5.5.6, 5.5.5.7, and we need to specify the subnet mask. So net mask 255.255.255.0. So that's how you specify the pool. And this is actually how you actually translate or specify the private IP addresses and the pool of public IP addresses. So IPNet inside source, of course, the source is the list that we created here, and it's got a access list sequence of 10, so that's why it's 10. And the pool, and the name of our pool is pool also, all RPKs. And yeah, that's it. That's how you would configure. That's how you configure dynamic NAT. And of course, you can always verify it by doing a show IP NAT translations. And this is how you would see. In the output, this is how you would see here the output here. So basically, you have inside local your private IP addresses, of course, and inside global your public IP addresses, and outside global address, which is the web server that you are accessing or trying to access. So yeah, that's how you configure NAT, and dynamic NAT, and that's how dynamic NAT works. In the next video, I'm gonna talk about PAT, port address translation, and I think that, like I said in the previous video, PAT is the most common type of NAT nowadays, because you just have one IP, public IP, and you can use ports to so you can have separate communications or flows. So that's the next topic. Thanks.